All good. Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to the Market Venues and Comms Committee meeting on this day, the 20th of March. I thought it was 20 something. Can we start with 774 declarations of any disposable pecuniary interest, please? I'll take that as none. 775, apologies for absence.
We don't agree with you. There might have symptoms in the committee clerk that we haven't got access to.
Okay, thank you.
So,
I believe Councillor Jefferson will be along as and when he can. So,
sorry, Chair, just to note, I have to leave at 6:30, I'm afraid.
okay.
Appreciate you're a bit thin on the ground, but I have to be somewhere else at 7.
Yeah, I was just checking, even with Phil, Chris, and myself.
Yeah, you're still before us, so
I think that's okay.
just literally last till the end.
776, minutes of the last meeting. Any issues with that? Can we approve them? I think that's a yes. 777, the venues report. I'll hand over to you, David.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a new agenda item that we're going to add to as a standard to each of the V&M meetings. So it just gives you an overview of what's been going on since the last one. So as you can see in the venues report, we've had, apart from our regulars, we've had quite a few additional hired events, band events, plays, etc., etc. So we kicked off the year with the Panto. That actually came in after. So they had the first weekend. The second weekend actually came in after our previous meeting. We've had the Taras at the beginning of February and various different plays and such like. So it's been a reasonable couple of months. As I said in the unfortunately lost one of the nearby venues, and they've asked whether they can hold extra sessions at the Carnegie, which we're absolutely pleased to accommodate them for. So we usually have one every month, but now since our last meeting, we've already hosted 5. So that's good. One of the things that I'd like to talk about is moving forward. Sam Freeman has joined us in terms of someone who's got a primary focus is to look at compliance, facility services, liaison with booking and hirers. So actually having physical communication with them and making sure that their requirements are delivered. And one of the things that we're looking to do as from the 1st of April, which is our new financial year, is to analyse forward events. So we've already done the first of the planning sessions to look at where the holes are. So when we've got gaps of hirers, we can then look to try and pull events off the shelf like an 80s, 90s. And we can analyse what kind of events they are. So we've looked at it, and basically they fall into 4 categories. So celebratory events, commercial events, performance events, and community events. So the celebratory events are, as they suggest, weddings, birthday parties, anniversaries, etc. The income derived from that is reasonably basic, so it's your basic hire fee, but it will also include bar income. And for those kind of events, the bar is from the moment they walk in to when they finish around midnight. So the bar income is on celebratory events a lot more lucrative than some of the others. The commercial events, we mean by that sort of potential conferences. We're now developing a group of businesses that are regularly attending to hold training meetings, etc., primarily in the Guildhall Council Chamber. But again, that is a basic hire charge. There's not usually anything additional that we can generate income from. Performance events are things like tribute bands, comedy shows, etc. And that again is sometimes allowing you to have a lucrative bar event. This Friday, we've got Legends of Motown. Last year, the format of the show was basically 7:30 to 10 o'clock, I think, and then it finished. That was their hire, and they dictated it. We've talked to them a lot over the last year. and we've encouraged them to continue the activity, the event until midnight. So once the show finishes, there'll be a DJ comes on and which means we can probably generate a lot more bar income from that kind of thing. So again, that's the advantage of Sam being a little bit more proactive in talking to the hirers and making sure that we can sometimes have play a part in trying to dictate the format to our advantage. Community events are things like job fairs, dance shows, U3A, who have a regular monthly meeting with us. But again, they are potentially just higher income only. There's not a lot of scope to generate additional income. So what we're trying to do is look at those in those 4 different categories and then analyse what we actually need to try and improve our overall income generation for the year. Do we need 60% or 50% or 40% of those more lucrative celebratory events to make sure that we generate budget? And if we do, it's a decision maybe that committee makes that we actually have to enforce that. But being mindful that we are a community venue and we do have to support those kind of community events, even though they don't generate the income that we may wish. So that's the kind of work that we're going to be doing. And in the future, coming to committee, we'll be able to give a more fuller interpretation of our performance to budget. So I know committee have talked in the past of not just talking about gross income, but actually what does it mean in terms of staff costs? Have we potential to generate future income? Maybe we need a little bit of investment to do that. So we can have more pertinent conversations around how we develop in the future. So I don't know whether you've got any questions on that.
Yeah. Just basically, when this sort of evaluation is done, will we be able to sort of see a breakdown of where it is and, where we could possibly have some input on there might be an idea of what we could do and what sort of how many nights are free and things like that.
Absolutely. So we are looking to evaluate where we are each month so we can find those gaps. We can certainly copy you in as a committee to those findings, but bi-monthly when we have these meetings in this agenda item, as I say, it will be a standard agenda item, I can report back in a more fuller degree than just what I've explained.
That's brilliant, because one of the things I was going to bring up, one of the things I was going to bring up today was that we don't seem to get feedback from like how we're doing. We get what's gone on, and we get. I don't want this to sound like it's criticism, because one of the things I'm mindful of is we've got some fantastic staff, right? And I don't want to pee any of them off, because they do work hard, and everyone's going over and above because of the situation we've been short. But we don't get information, and absolutely. Right from the very first meeting we had here, when we had the Wetherspoons scenario, one of the things I said was, we don't have information. We don't get information. We don't know what the history is. We don't know what the future plan is. We don't know what the delivery is. And we don't know the result. And if we're going to be effective as a council and giving direction to the youth, because you do the work, you do all the hard work, we just make a decision. We don't know if that's being delivered as we would like, and we don't get a report back to say what's happened. And I feel that then feeds into, I don't have the information. So when it comes to another decision, I don't know if I can make a decision on it because I haven't got any information.
Yeah, so again, going forward within this agenda item bit, you will have a full scenario. So rather than me just reel off a number of events that we've had, that will be in a templated, standardised format that shows how much it generated. That's the gross income. Where did we get some additional sales from? So bar. In the case of wedding receptions, the fact that we charge to put chair covers on, table covers and things like that. And then what sessional staff we use, so we can get a fuller net income picture for you councillors to see. Because when you look at the budget,
I applaud that. That's a good thing. It's something I'd like to see cross over into other areas.
Well,
I think it's going to happen.
And I know, and you know, I'm looking to my left, and the councillor sitting to my left has been banging on about this for ages. When you look at the budget, it actually gives you a gross income against bar and things like that. It does give you a overall gross expenditure for bar purchase, for instance. But what this will show is expenditure pertinent to that particular event. So we will see a better net figure. So when I come to a committee meeting in the future and say, look, we've got an opportunity now to develop conferencing, for instance, but what that's going to take is a little bit of investment, maybe to buy some equipment and things. You're going to be able to make that decision based on a more accurate picture of what that can generate and actually what it can net. And that's the more important thing.
That's great. That is important. Thank you.
Yeah, mine's not a question, just an observation regarding the event next Friday for the Town of Oaktown issue.
This Friday.
Yeah, this Friday, yeah. I mean, we've obviously learned from what happened last time.
Yeah.
With the, you know, we shut in the bar early and people going and whinging because everything finished at 9, so they couldn't get a drink. But it's really good that we've taken note.
So in that scenario, over a year ago, 14 months ago, they basically hired the venue. It was their format that they delivered. What we're doing now is, yes, we'll take the hire. We'll look at that. Does it fall into a category where we have an influence? Yeah, we provide the bar. Does it work for us? So can we talk to the people? Can we communicate with them and suggest that? I mean, that event, there was 131 that attended. We've capped it at 181, so there are 50 more sales for them for the night. We've capped it simply because we've also had a conversation about these. This is the kind of event where these guys want to come along, they want to enjoy the night, they want to have a drink throughout the night, and they want to dance as well. So we can't go any more than 180. But when you say, look, actually, we've recreated a different format which suits everybody, it's going to generate a bigger income in the bar for us, but you've just had 50 extra sales than you did 14 months ago. So at this moment in time, it's a win-win. We've got to deliver a good event, yeah? So let's not, jinx it. But everybody is looking forward to a really good night and they're very pleased. And that is because we are having more fuller conversations with our hirers and that's testament to Sam. We've got the ability now with her on board to do that. Whereas in the past, we've had, we've had other members of the team, but they've been pulled from pillar to post. So, that is her primary focus, deal with hirers and try and maximise that kind of potential. And we will sit down and do the planning exercise and bring a more fuller analysis report to committee in the future. Can I also say one of the other things which is not in the venues report, one of the other things that we are doing, and again, learning from some of the mistakes. We're also, Sam and I are looking at developing our SOPs, our standard operating procedures. So when people work behind the bar, they're standard that we have to adhere to. So there will be a formulated preparation process, appearance for staff. So again, we've got the uniforms on side now, so there's no excuse. People will have to wear staff badges, so people are aware of who they are. There is a process of how we serve. So again, we've been looking at how can we maximise those events. We are now looking at workstations. There's a little bit of work to do on that because work in that bar, it's not changed. It's still quite a tight space. You can't get any more than 3 people to actually serve. But can we do it in a better way than we've done before? And we think that we've looked at it and we can improve it. There's a lot more improvements got to be made, but that's an ongoing challenge for us. But again, we're looking at all aspects of what we do in terms of putting them into standard operating procedures. So when we have a churn of staff, as you all do, they will come in and they will pick up that standard and that's what they work to and that's what they're judged against. So if in the future we get some disgruntled customers, we measure it against something that's the standard. If it doesn't, then there's a reason and there's a consequence to that. So I think, again, we've looked at it from a more professional angle.
Thank you, David. Terry.
Really pleased to hear about standard operating procedures. I think that's really crucial, and consistency and high quality service across the board. There's quite a lot of variation depending who's there. So really pleased. Is that going to come back to committee at a later date?
I mean, we are working through those, Terry. Sam's on holiday this week. I've got a few days next week. So, but again, it's something that we will bring back to committee, or you will have sight of it before, and maybe we can make, adjustments as suggested at the committee. So you'll get prior, a prior look at that.
One thing is more venue related than building related, but one of my bugbears is when the event is nearing an end but hasn't finished, and people start packing up and almost practically sort of hurry people out the door. I did chuck. I was in Swaffham last week, and there was a guy literally speaking on the microphone, and the venues team were putting the tables down behind him. And I was like, it was just really awful. It's like, hurry up. And I've heard comments from people that if, we've done similar here, but if we could build into our standard operating procedures, we make sure people book half an hour after it's supposed to finish to allow clear down. You don't start clearing down until it's finished.
So one of the things is for a bar event, for instance, the bar has to finish half an hour before the end of the event. So it's not like the staff can't get ahead.
Yeah.
So there's not something that they can't do. So one, they can cash up, and they can start closing down and cleaning the bar before they move in to clearing down furniture and things like that. But again, that will be highlighted at the process. I mean, I must admit, after a tiring day, Terry, I will admit that I have been one of those people that have done it.
I've done it myself.
So, but we've got to have something that we can consistently operate to, and this is what we've decided to do.
Lovely.
Any more from the floor? If not, I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
The first one relates to Carnegie.
Yeah.
We've got a full council next week with the threat of further disruption. Would it be possible to test the microphones properly and give a report to council so they can use them? Because last time we sort of went in cold, and it was a bit of a fiasco really with the microphones. Nobody knew how to use them and so forth.
So one thing I do have to do, sorry.
No, seriously, I'll take responsibility for that. We'll ensure that it doesn't happen again.
But can I mean, appreciate that, Alan, but I will have to say that we have purchased a mic for every councillor, and there wasn't 18, 17, I think we've got 17 councillors now. There wasn't 17 microphones on there. The one thing it does do, though, is it does compromise the full council protocol. I think Alan may have spoken about that in a previous meeting.
We've had a look at that.
Yeah.
And understanding orders, if the chair, i.e. the mayor, says at the start that councillors are allowed to sit down, then that's what they're allowed to do.
Okay. What I think, though, is with respect, I think because there were times when councillors shared mics, it wasn't directly in front of them. So we will test standing directly in front. So what will happen is you will have your, bit like your roads, you will have your individual mic, and on the base there will be a label that says this particular councillor's name. And more importantly, because we heard every word, or I heard every word you said, because you speak well, and other councillors, I won't name anyone, but maybe a little bit more timid in their speech. But what we're going to do is we'll test, and if you need volume 5 because you project your voice a bit more, someone else might need volume 9, and it will be on there. So you will know that. Again, it's going to have to be council's responsibility as well to make sure that that's not been to us. The problem is when certain individuals did what they did touch the mics. So it will be that if ever that happens again, you need to know, if I am David Brooks and I need 9, I will make sure it's on 9.
I think it would be useful to know how far away people have got to be to talk into the mic, because, personally, I was, I'll talk about me. I was sitting at my normal stance at the table, and nobody could hear me.
No, so I think what we need to do, and well, I don't want to dwell on too much of what might happen, but councillors do arrive early. So the first thing we'll do this time is you will sit at your desk with your individual mic, and we'll make sure that we monitor what what sound level you need, and then we'll record it. So I think, so yeah, I do apologise that we didn't have enough training, but I think it was, the issue was exacerbated because you shared mics. We have enough to have individual mics. That's what will be on the table in the future. But I think it will just help a little bit more if we can relax the protocol and sit. Again, you know, no disrespect, Chris, but you are not someone who really. You sit with Stuart. I could hear everything you said as well. So I think that will help. I think that will help. Just being there in front of your mic. So hopefully that.
Yeah, thank you. As long as what I stress is that you keep in contact with councillors and let them know before the event what they need to do. No.
Is there some sort of kill switch or microphone, like dead button? Because I have an image of someone in the crowd grabbing the mic and turning it into.
So when you see, this is why it's not, in my opinion, and I've discussed this with Alan, the chair, i.e. the mayor, will know who is speaking because the mic turns red when it's live, but you control that. So when you speak, you turn it on, and when you don't, you turn it off. There is an override that the mayor, the chair of the meeting, can override that and kill that mic, just in case you forget. So unless they grab the person who's speaking at that particular time, then I don't think that's necessarily going to be an issue once everybody realises how to use the equipment.
Thank you. The other question I have is regarding, again, the Carnegie. In our manifesto, we spoke about turning the Carnegie into a charitable venue. Are preparations underway for that process?
I think the difficulty for us is really understanding what that model will be. So I think we have to start a process of doing that. And I think it'll just be a matter of sitting down, doing some modeling, and it might be easier to do that possibly in a workshop format where we can play around with it and then do that. And I think that's really, it's one of these situations we don't want to step outside, but everyone understands.
No, I do understand that.
And you want us to do something, but we're not sure if we actually want, because we need to find that balance. And again, I will take responsibility for facilitating that.
Thank you very much.
Could I just say something from the Venn team members? You know, we're not, you know, the Venn team are not unintelligent people, and they have seen budgets, and those budgets are a 6-month budget for the venues. So technically, at the end of September, there is no budget going forward. So I think the team would welcome that dialogue and have that conversation about, you know, where it is going to go for various different reasons. So, but yeah, we understand that's the process, and that's your pledge, and the budget dictates that's the direction we're going to go.
Can I put a comment on that? Because when it first got mooted that this is a way that we could look at doing it, I was quite anti, if I want to put a word on it, because I didn't know what it entailed. I've since done a little bit of homework, and I actually think it's a positive move to put it in there, because it was save the council a lot of money in rateable value, and B, it gives you more freedom to do what you need to do. And I can't see that there's anything negative there. Obviously, I'm not an expert, and I think a workshop would be really good, because then we can all thrash it out. It gives councillors the confidence to promote it. It gives the staff the confidence that we ain't after their jobs, because we're not, far from it. So I think it's a win-win.
Well, can I just, I won't share the individual that I had a conversation with. You can imagine that we've had conversations internally within the team. And I think, to be honest, from something that was creating real angst in the team, again, they've tried to delve into, you know, where could that be? And I'll give you an example. We have an issue with our sound system. It's 12 years old, and, you know, sticks will be approached as well. Yeah, it's 12 years old. It was installed before I came, so that's how old it is. And there's 1 or 2 repairs that need to be made. Now, there is a fund that we could possibly access that may be able to purchase the replacement of some of that equipment. They will not fund the town council. We've also had a conversation with someone that we could go into good partnership with in terms of delivering creative type events and things like that. And with respect, they are not keen to get involved with the town council because they are a community organisation, an arts community organisation themselves. But again, it opens up a lot more doors. Some of the stuff that I've mentioned in the report talks about partnerships. And again, we've had conversations with a creative a group that works with hard to reach youths and things like that. And again, they do a lot of work and they're looking to do a lot of work with us. But I think, again, it will be beneficial to both parties, again, if we are not seen as a town council. Having said that, the staff are very keen to have some kind of connection to the council for obvious reasons. So I think dialogue will be good, Vic. I think, you know, and the sooner we do it, the better, because, you know, weeks seem to fly past.
Won't be next week though, Ron.
No, it won't be. Weeks seem to fly past and, you know, it's the beginning of the financial year and we have a 6-month budget and 6 months will go quickly and we'll be really busy. So we need to try and, you know, have that dialogue.
Terry.
I think that's a really helpful question, conversation. And there's lots of different delivery models for community venues. You know, we know some of them as council, but there's lots more out there. I think as a starter, I'm really keen for staff and councillors to have an arranged visit to DIS Corn Exchange.
We've spoken about this before.
Yeah, and the model in DIS works really well for the reasons that Vic mentioned, but also the reasons that David mentioned, is because funders will not fund the town council. Because if you look at our reserves and the size of the council, we will not get lottery funding, we will not get arts council type funding. And the model they got in DIS, they got millions of pounds by adopting a different delivery model where the building is still owned by DIS Town Council, but the delivery is run by other people. And that's the sort of model that I would like to go down. And also, why should we as a town council be sat dictating what happens in the buildings? You know, I would rather have people on the management committee for the Guildhall Carnegie that actually know about arts and drama and all the rest of it, and they can shape the programme. That's really what it's about. Yes, of course, we have an input as a town council because I'm sure we've got ideas. But if we want it to be a leading arts and cultural venue, and I think we do, we need to bring those people in with the expertise that can help guide and shape some of it. And that's certainly the sort of direction I want to go. So to begin with, a visit to them would be really useful.
Can we have that minuted as an action point, please?
Yeah.
So as we get on with this, because we have spoken about it.
Yeah, and David's
Thank you.
but it's going to be a journey for councillors and staff, because you know, we've all got ideas as councillors. I've got some ideas, but nothing's set in stone. Yeah, I think that's the key thing. It's a vision for moving forward, which we need to do together.
Yeah.
But that's the direction of travel.
Thank you. Moving on to 778 communications report. I guess this is going to be you, Dave.
It is indeed. Rightly so. Looking at our social media stats and everything, still staying positive. You should have all had this report, well, as part of the pack. We are obviously using Instagram, Facebook and X. I know Instagram was mentioned last time. The page was set up. We're just making sure we're using it a bit more effectively and requested. Our engagement on the TTC page was 20.7% with a post reach of 35,000. In the last, when did I put it? On Friday. So in the last 4 or 5 days, we have hit 65,000 reach because fraction on our posts, which is good. Lots of positive stuff going out. Carnegie and Guildhall engagement is sat at 14.9% as well. So that's still positive. I want to push that up a bit more because it is has dwindled slightly, but I think with some of the events and things we've got coming up, it's just about getting the campaigns behind the big summer events that are heading into Thetford. you've obviously got the stats there for the Instagram pages and how many followers we have. Numbers are low on Instagram. We are pushing it out. We have got QR codes up in the centres. We have, we do link to it on the website and on newsletters. So it's just to continue doing that, and maybe looking at our events and whether if we have kind of more target audiences there with younger ages and things, maybe suggesting they follow us on Instagram as well. Through town councils, not just for the older generations. We're also working on more real content, which help engage wide audiences. We've got a really good post out the other day. The people that cut back Castle Mound did a drone video for us. They weren't sure if they were allowed to. It was quite funny. We had said previously they could, but and they have all the licenses before anyone questions that. But they did the videos and sent them over to Nick as a bit of a surprise. It was quite nice to get that because the before and after shots, it just instantly gives people the view that we're doing things. And it's nice, the scenery is nice and it's nice to celebrate good things in Thetford. And hopefully that goes out a bit further and people might want to come and visit. Twitter/X is about the same. We've got a higher following on the TTC pages. I think that's probably because more conversation goes on there behind the posters and things that go up on the Carnegie one, and we do snapshots of events, but I think with the TTC one it's more hot topic on what's happening and getting people linked in, particularly with councillors and things at the moment. Thetford Markets page has been launched on Twitter as requested. I sat down with Stacey and did that this week. That was slightly delayed because of holidays and things like that, but we got it off to a start this week and we're hoping to work together to try and train Stacey on using it because she's not very, she doesn't have much practice. So I've said I'll go through some bits with her for a post and just support her on that and try and get that up and running and get some more engagement on that. Offline, we're continuing with our poster sites, poster packs. I did say they will be given out of E&M. I completely forgot to pick them up off my desk. I do apologise, but I will make sure that they are in King's House. And I did note that someone brought it up at another meeting because I'd only brought them into E&M and my brain doesn't think wider than that necessarily.
I suppose the better time is probably full council.
Yeah, so my thought process is either to drop them off at full council or to just leave some packs here so that if other people pop in, they can grab them. Yeah, and I know we do use this for other meetings as well, so it'd be good for people to have that. But I do note that and I will do that going forward. Might even name them so I know if you picked them up. Community groups are also out distributing the packs for us. They're starting to build a group list. I'm also talking to a few other people I know do ask me for posters and bits and pieces, and I'm trying to collate a list so we can see if there are gaps around the town centre that we can fill. I think we do catch most places now, but it's just about keeping that up and keeping that momentum going. We're drafting a list of town events, which will be sent through to other councils in the area. Whether they choose to share them or not, I'm not sure. I have had conversations with Swaffham and Wotton. I have sent a message to Durham, but I can't off the top of my head tell you if I've heard back from them yet. But I will continue those dialogues and just try and get them to share bits and pieces, because if it's things like D-Day and national events, they are hopefully more likely to share them if we can kind of don't clash dates and things like that. Again, continue contact with Breckland, working quite well with them, and Norfolk as well. I've been using Emma Crampton quite well in between the two of us, grabbing her when I've got anything about Breckland and going, can you give us a little help here and push this out? Particularly with things like the litter pick. I know that, some of the officers have volunteer days, so I suggest maybe they want to come and join us on that and support the town. So it's just trying to get that information across the 3 tiers and to get it out as many residents as possible so that people don't feel like Norfolk, Breckland or us are missing anyone within the areas. Press releases are very prominent. We have produced 6, I've put here, I think might be 7 now. Since the end of January, we've got 2 more currently in the drafting stages, ready to go out in the next few weeks and just finishing those off. All of them have been picked up so far and shared, if not by one, but by multiple media, whether that's whether that's online or in print, which is great. And we're hoping to keep that up. We've got quite a few bits coming up with off the back of some of those, so it's not just a case of putting the press release out.
I'm very sorry, I could only pick it up.
So we've put the press release out about the
challenge.
grazers, and obviously going forward, we will continue that conversation with them. I know me and Terry have had a conversation about filming lambs, going onto the park. I went and spoke to the grazer and he is very happy to abide with that. He thought that was quite funny. So it's not a case of we've put a press release out because we've done something and now that's put on the shelf. It's, you know, we've got the nest boxes that have gone up. So we're continuing the work with Hazel and Iron going forward, and we're putting more posts up that. So we said we were going to do this and we have done it because it's important to show people that, and to important to obviously make things sustainable. Been working hard to speak to councillors about topics they're passionate about. For example, Hazel and Iron about bird boxes, Terry about his sheep, and keeping those stories going where possible. It's great to share things to councillors when the councillors are working to contribute towards town, but it would be great to have more good news stories. I know lots of you do lots of things. People probably aren't aware of how much you are out and about. It would be nice to share your particular interests, because then people will know who to go to if they're not sure about different things. You know, if you're, for example, passionate about the D-Day celebrations and things, I know we've mentioned someone, it would be great for people to know that that's the person to go to. I know Stuart's very hot on his heritage, and, you know, I know a few of them, but it's just building that for my benefit, so I know who to go to for press releases, but also for your benefit and showing people what you, you know, what you are contributing to the town. Digital newsletter went out this month with updates for and events, and also for our calls for our volunteers for the big spring planting and big litter picks. The spring planting was brilliant. We had lots of people come and get involved. We had lots of conversations in the town centre with people going past. I think we worked to quite a few of those worries when people were saying, well, you know, they might get pulled up and things like that. And we said, well, we hope not, because if people are getting involved in it and, you know, you're seeing that they're good, that you will help support that. And we have had, unfortunately, we did have a few pulled up, but we got an instant report from someone and then they followed that up by reporting it themselves. So that was dealt with very quickly and they've been okay since. So hopefully that will continue. In terms of the big litter pick, we have, I know that some of the groups in Thetford have been doing one, but we've got one on Friday and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the marketplace. We are encouraging councillors to come along and get involved. If any of you are around, it would be great for you to be seen out and about with us, and just to come and chat to staff and people that are getting involved, because I know people who were getting involved were very passionate about helping and they really want to get involved. And whilst we're doing that, we will be encouraging newsletter sign-ups. So everyone that comes will be giving us their name, and as long as they have to do their name and an emergency contact just in case there's any issues to cover us. But we're also going to ask them if they were happy to, if they'd provide an email to add to the newsletter list so they know if things are going forward. So, yeah. And the printed one, I believe we're going to go on to in a bit, but it is being drafted to be sent out in April.
Thank you very much. Very comprehensive report. I get the very strong feeling that you're really leaning into the whole idea of press releases.
Yes.
And my view is that it's really paying off, actually.
Yeah.
It's really paying dividends. Terry.
Yeah, I'll comment and then I'm going to run away. You used the word momentum in there, Hazel, which I think is really relevant, because actually there does feel like there's momentum with comms, which is down to you. So, you know, thank you for that. It's been really positive the last few months, not just on social media as well, actually, which I'm really pleased about, because the hit rate with press releases being covered, I did chuckle when the EDP ran the same story twice in the same newspaper. So one section of the newspaper, I kept going. And
that good. We were like,
that good? They put it in twice on the same day. But no, and I think, you know, taking good quality photos, it just, you know, smiley children, people planting stuff, it just makes such a difference. And we're in print media, and, you know, through that we are changing people's image of Thetford, because there is positive stuff that's going on. It's not all doom and gloom, and so it's so important. And that go now.
Any questions any further? No. Okay, thank you. 779, Thetford Town newsletter.
display.
I can start it off and then if you want to finish it. So basically, in December, I did produce and send out a production timeline. The first element of that was to come to the V&M in January, which we did, just to try and chat through, as per media policy dictates, what potential content will be within the newsletter. We got over that patch. So then it was a case of actually trying to put it together. Pretty much most of that has been done. One of the areas that we have had an issue with is the participatory budget project or program, and there's been obviously some extensions, and there's still in the realms of trying to create the format for the presentation of those organisations if I pitch for a slice of the pie. So unfortunately, it has put us back across that production deadline. We have to make a decision whether we're going to go with that or we're going to ditch it, because there are topics within the potential newsletter that talks about mayor making. There's interviews with the incoming mayor. If we push it back too far, that becomes irrelevant as well. So we might have to look for another article to finish that publication off. We were hoping it was going to drop on the doormats on the 2nd of April, but it's likely to be the following weekend, which means we're still in plenty of time to advertise annual town meeting, mayor making, and the list of town events. But it will take that last major push to get that final article so we can get it professionally laid up and printed. But yeah, I think we're in a better place than really. It seems a bit, anxious, but we're in a better place than we was issue 1. So we learned some lessons there and we're nearly there.
Thank you, Vic.
With the participatory budget, and obviously it's going to be in the newsletter and you presented it as, fait accompli, what we're going to do. Could we not had that, we're saying, due to the overwhelming number of applications?
We can certainly do an article.
The timeline's going to slip?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the issue with participatory budgeting is getting hold of the man who's just left, actually. Would that be a fair comment?
Potentially, yeah. So obviously I've spoke to you about this yesterday, and I've given you the stuff we've got so far just to get it all checked over, and so you're happy with it. Obviously, I hold my hands up. It dropped a week behind. I did end up with COVID. Didn't plan on having it a third time, but that knocked me out for a week, which meant obviously that's then pushed our deadlines for a week. And we have had a heavy focus on the getting the spring planting and litter picking out, because that was time sensitive. So that has taken up a bit of my time, but yeah, we've done the meetings with both I've done both the interviews with the incoming mayor and the outgoing mayor. They were quite happy to eventually give me some information, exciting. But yeah, in terms of the participatory budget, I spoke to Terry and had a conversation about he wanted a big double page spread in it, wanted to advertise the next steps in it and go forward from there. But the problem with that is obviously on the Tuesday that he was meant to then speak to me about it, you had your meeting and a decision at that point hadn't been made. I don't know if it has since then, so I do apologise if it has.
Yes.
But so I think the problem there was I'll speak to you on Tuesday, and then because it got bumped, understandably, it's absolutely fine. And the other thing was the Thetford and Bloom, how much we want to put in it. I've done a quick draft of some of it, but I've got a bank of, obviously I've got 6 press releases we've already put out. I've potentially got 2 more coming up. I have a bank of things we could put in, but it's whether we want to use the padding out as such or whether we have other stuff we could put in. We're happy to, but it's just getting to this tight deadline now. But I think we had quite a good conversation about it yesterday.
To be fair, it would have been lovely to drop on 10,000 doormats with that in the centre spread. But this is such a big programme. It's such a big thing that the council have taken a lead on, that when it does materialise with the full format of the presentation night and things like that, we are going to make a huge press release coverage. We're going to go, and it doesn't mean to say that we can't send a digital newsletter out. That's got subscribers of over 1,000 for the digital newsletter. So that will get to those kind of people. Press releases, social media, we'll still make a big hit on it, and it will get out there.
Thank you. Any further comments on that? No, just to reiterate my thanks to you for that hard work you've been throwing at it. 780, Thetford Town Council website?
So this has been, as you know, littered with setbacks. We did pretty much launch on the date that we were going, but again, it was beset with teething problems. We had issues with whether it was compliant to various different platforms, Firefox being one of them. And then the booking system, there were issues. It is, again, you know, this is something that Hazel's been working tirelessly to try and get amended, and you know, full credit to her for sticking at it, because honestly, it was hair-tearing times that we, but we think that we're pretty much there in terms of where we wanted to be at launch date. Yes, there is now the next steps, which is how do we make it a lot more interesting and populate it and make those pages even more interesting and attractive. That was always the next step. The one thing that is also really important that we need to do is a cleansing program of getting rid of all that useless archive documents that are out of date, policies that are not relevant anymore. And that's going to be a huge task. And I think what this committee did suggest is let's get the documentation as of the 1st of April last year. If people are looking back retrospectively to check decisions and things like that, they're likely to go back over the last few meetings since the year turn. So that's our first step, to make sure that that's all on the website and relevant. But again, we do need to create an archive page dump folder, whatever you want to call it, where we can get those relevant documents for people who really want to research into various different decisions from past meetings. So there's a huge task to go forward. So it was never going to be there finished and all singing, all dancing on the 31st. But I think now we have got what we wanted on the 31st. The booking system worked by and large. What I can say is we did install a hard copy paper booking system, and I'm very confident that we didn't miss any bookings during that time. So again, we didn't miss out on anything. But honestly, it's been a real grind, and again, full credit to Hazel for sticking with it. And what we now need to do, and this is something that, again, I would suggest there is an action coming from this committee, is for me to make sure that we get the right support package. I think it's been as it's turned out, I am going to say this, probably I shouldn't say this in a public meeting, but I think it's been a step too far for the web designers. And I think what they've offered us now is not something that they offered us at the outset of the brief. There is a 3-tier support package, bronze, silver and gold. And the one that they've sent through to Alan and I is a bronze package, which is the minimum level of support. That's not good enough. We agreed and paid. We suggested that we wanted to pay for the gold package. The reason we wanted the gold package, actually, because it was quite a lucrative sum of money that would have saved what we previously had. So that was financially beneficial to us. But I think they realise now it's a step too far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that they either adhere to the original brief. It's an open source WordPress website. It doesn't necessarily have to be supported by them. It can be supported by anybody. That's the reason we went with an open source website. So if they refuse to do that and admit that it's a step too far, what it does allow us to do is to source maybe some local support, which will be a lot better for us, because you can have that local dialogue with people. They can pop in and physically sit down with staff and things like that. So that's what we will do. So I'm happy, Chair, if that's one of the tasks and actions that come out of this meeting, to finally secure a support package that's going to work for us, because
I've got some thoughts on that, but I'll throw it to the floor first, if that's okay. Anybody, any comments on that?
I just think that we do need to have an effective support package, whether it's them or someone else. Myself personally, I wouldn't know one end of a support package to the other, right? So that's not my expertise. Complete novice in going on it. All I want to do is be able to go on there, see what I want to find, and so it's got to be foolproof, because I'm a fool when it comes to that. but the support package is essential because the last thing we need is we're putting out, we're a professional outfit with a nice new website and it keeps collapsing.
To be fair, Vic, the previous website was too cumbersome to navigate and things like that. So the website format is a lot cleaner and easier to navigate. What wasn't in dispute was the support package we got from the previous web provider. So we have a standard that we can hold the current web designer to, because we were happy with the support package. We never had a problem with that. So we've got something that we can, you know.
We've got a benchmark, basically.
Yeah.
So if nobody else has got any comments, I've got two questions really. Do we have a contract with iCloud and what does it look like?
The contract was to supply the website that they've actually built. The support package was the bolt on. So they could actually get out of the support package if they don't really want to.
Can we get out of the support package?
Absolutely.
Right, that's good, because that leads me to my second question, which is, I've sort of looked at this in the round, and it seems to me that we've spent an awful lot of money on a not particularly good package from iCloudy. My suggestion would be that we get someone in and look at somebody else to offer that support package. I think we could save a lot of money. Certainly there are local people who would do it. And, you know, I could get names and addresses. Yeah, I thought you'd come in here.
I think there's two elements that we've also learned a little bit. There's the data element, which is under our control. And I think getting those right, the naming protocols and getting the archive done, that's up to us. It doesn't matter who we have posting, if, you know, rubbish in, rubbish out. And the second part is to get that support. And I think, you know, David and I had the discussion this morning. We've got to have that support, you know, and if they're not prepared to do it, well, then we go somewhere else who is prepared to do it. And, you know, we can't go to a stage where, you know, I mean, I had to write to the MD, and I don't even think I got an adequate response because it just didn't happen. It was as if we were the problem, and that's not the case.
That's unacceptable, really.
So I think we really have to, you know, we had a discussion last night at the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting about how we're changing the financial regs to get some of those monitoring things in, and I think we need to look at it for this particular contract going forward as well.
Yeah. Carla.
Yes, I tend to agree. I mean, we need a fully functional, up to date, up to the current times website. That was a priority. You know, everything is online. We need something that is really user friendly, that it works, that doesn't collapse like Vic said.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit confused about when the support package was agreed together with the website, with building of the website, with this current current provider, right? And then I'll want to change that contract, or is it something wasn't discussed before? I'm just a bit uncertain where does it stand?
So when we briefed the web designer, it was on the design and build of the website.
Okay.
They have as I said, they have a suite of bronze, silver and gold packages that you can bolt on. But what we did is we paid for the design of the website, and we suggested that the package that we would have once that was built was the gold package. One, because it saved us a lot of money,
right.
But it was supposed to deliver the all singing, all dancing technical support. Okay. I think because we have been so pushy in terms of wanting to get our website right, I think they're going, well, actually, we'll offer you the bronze package, which is the very basic. That's not good enough. It's not good enough because we don't have the expertise in-house to do it.
Yeah.
And we don't need that because luckily what we have built, and we built this with the previous website, it's a WordPress open source website. So it's owned by us. It's our website. It's not a bespoke license website. It's ours. So we can go and source technical support, and it will be easy for them to facilitate that with anybody. We're not obliged to go with them.
But they actually agree in principle that once the website revision was done, that they would provide that gold package, or was it something?
We have communications with the managing director, the owner, to say that once the website is finished and we're happy with it,
I tend to agree with that. I think it's taking far too long to get the service up and running. Any other company would probably have the system in place by now, and that is an issue.
Do you want to propose a motion to do that from the floor, please?
We can do that.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Chris, thank you. In favour? Well, since it's 2 on 1, I think it's going to be in favour.
I'm sure for a lot of us today, so it's very straightforward.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Another point, unless we've got any other comments first, another point about the website. We were going to have a SharePoint facility for councillors to access stuff within the website as an alternative to accessing stuff within the website. Where are we with that, please?
I could update it.
Thank you. I'm very glad you're here tonight.
Well, what we did is I had a look at our SharePoint capabilities as officers. We're not up to speed on SharePoint to the extent that we should be. So I have the permission of this committee. I have suggested, and I've been in contact with the original provider of our SharePoint. Can we have training geared for us so that we can use it properly? Because otherwise we go back to what's happened on decisions, for example. We try to educate everyone.
I'll come to that later.
We're not skilled enough. So I want to make sure that any of the managers can actually do what needs to be done, because otherwise we're going to have this wonderful facility. We're going to have the hub built for the councillors, and nothing's going to be put in it because we don't know how to actually put things onto it. So what we do is, if you don't mind, there might be a little bit of a delay. We're going to have a SharePoint training. I'm going to make sure that David, myself, Nick, Hazel, and Karen as committee clerk, they are all going to be experts at doing SharePoint. Then we get experts, and I'm using that word pretty strongly. And then after that, we're in a position then to extend it to the councillors and make sure that we can give you the information that you need. If we floundering, you councillors will lose interest so quick, because you're going to go over there and see no changes, for example, wonder why it's not there, and we're going to be thundering ourselves because we can't actually put the document there. So if you don't mind with that too, we have learned from previous mistakes. We have to do it that way.
I think that's a very fair comment. Any comments on that?
I just think it's the best way forward is to actually train the staff in how to do things properly. They'll become more efficient over time, because it's pointless to have a speak and span website and whole system if it's redundant, if nobody can use it. That's obvious. To me, it seems pretty obvious.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When we do sort of get our stuff, can someone train me as well?
Yeah, I was trying to say.
I'm useless on any of that. And
I'm happy to take part in the training if it's open to anybody.
I mean, the idea
It's useful.
is that instead of you getting a whole lot of emails, you just open basically an interweb, and it's all there, and then you choose what you want to see. Okay. But we have to put relevant information.
You have to upload the info.
And that's what we don't. I mean, I can't even change. We still got we've had on our Facebook cover. We've had 2 photographs there for 2 years, 3 years. And that's part of the thing that we have to learn to do. We have to use it.
We definitely need more training.
Yeah. And then at least as councillors, you don't have to, it's like a website. You don't have to know how to operate a website. You just know how to press Google and put in email address. And the SharePoint should just be like that, where you go on, there's a councillor folder and you can see what's new. Okay, someone posted something yesterday. That looks interesting. I'll have a look at it.
Yeah. So my understanding of SharePoint, and I've used it in the past, is it'll take you 10 minutes, Vic. Honestly.
As long as it's idiot proof, because as I said before, I'm rubbish with this.
The other thing is, you'll probably just get an email to say documents uploaded. You won't have anything, clogging up your emails. You'll go into SharePoint, it'll all be there ready for you. All of these things will be there. So you won't get loads and loads of emails. You'll get a basic email to say, VNN documents uploaded.
I've got to say, the current system that you got where we get 2 months' time, there's a meeting, and then now we get this one and it's got everything in it. I love that, because trying to go in and out, that defeats me.
I think it's actually a better alternative, possibly, than the decisions model that we were looking at. So, yeah.
I won't need to do decisions training then. And can I just say, if I do get training, can I do face to face? Because I can't do it.
And that's what I've insisted. We're not going to do web training. We're going to get the guys down and they're going to physically sit there with a big screen and they're going to.
I'll be honest, if it's a meeting or training and it's on there.
When I mentioned the training, it was not so much on the end user, it was more about the uploading of the files and actually putting stuff on the SharePoint. That's open to anybody. I'm keen on doing it.
My knowledge of decisions and of SharePoint leads me to think that SharePoint will be a far easier alternative.
Possibly.
I think is that reasonable? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks. 781 weekly markets.
So the market coordinator's just come back off holiday. She's had so I covered the markets for 3 Saturdays and 2 Tuesday markets, which was good because it gave me the opportunity to have a chat with traders and catch up with where we are with new traders. By and large, everybody seemed to be reasonably happy with the way things were going. We've looked to reconfigure the market and that's been going well since we've done that. We bought some new gazebos. Basically, the market coordinator did some repairs on the old frame, so we've increased our stock by 100%. So that's good, leading into the summer months. One thing I would say is having the pre-meeting with Terry a week ago, he reminded me about one of the tasks that was set me in terms of trying to make the market cashless in terms of paying their fees. And I think this is really important on both counts. One is a safety thing for the market coordinator, but I think for the trader, once they get over the shock of actually having to do it, I think they'll find it a lot easier as well, rather than sometimes you go to traders and they're dipping in their pouch for their fees. It's only going to affect the casual traders because the regular traders pay a month in advance anyway, and they usually do that by standing order or direct debit. But we do need to give them warning. So what I would ask is for the committee, if they are in favour of actioning that, is to make a decision that we do that. But I would ask that we do it from the 4th of May. As I say, it affects casual traders that pay market to market, so we don't have to do it on any specific date, but it gives us enough time to tell them that's what's going to happen and they understand it, and they if they've got any concerns they can come back to us with that. But it's something that we need to do from a safety aspect as well. So I don't know what councillors feel in terms of
just one comment really, and I think the answer is going to be no. Is it likely that someone would say, oh well, if you go cash out, card only, we ain't going to come?
On the trade. I don't know until we ask the question. That's why I would say that if we are going to initiate it, we'll do it from Saturday, 4th of May, because it gives us an opportunity to, from this Saturday, if the decision is made tonight, we can start talking to traders over the Saturday and the Tuesday, because we have different traders on different days sometimes. And at least by the end of next week, we'll have a feel for if there's going to be anybody.
Me personally, I can't see there's a problem with it.
No.
No,
I think it makes sense.
Yeah. My issue is Stacey is about, 5 foot nothing and 6 stone ringing where.
Yeah, she shouldn't
She's
be
such a
running around.
target for somebody coming.
She shouldn't be running around with
What's a cash in a pocket?
It is a safety issue.
the other bonus for that is, I mean, when a casual trader turns up, they should pay their toll from the beginning. So once they get to their pitch, before they start setting up, what they will do is they will come to the little store, the little office, if you like, and then they tap their card to pay for their fee. So again, it's within the confines of the building as well, so it's not in the middle of the market where you're flashing cards and things. So I think overall, it's just a more professional and safer method of paying.
I agree.
We are in the 21st century.
Yep.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against this at all. What concerns me though is the fact I've heard horror stories from traders who say the fees charged by the card thingy providers are extortionate.
We don't,
No, well, I
we
mean,
don't
that's,
pass any fees on to.
no, so
I mean, the council charge.
no, so if someone's got a 3 by 3 metre pitch and they want one of our gazebos, that fee is.
No, I think what you're talking about
It's
is
the card machine
cost of the
provider.
cashless operation, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
the card machine provider themselves, they charge a certain amount of money, don't they?
They do.
Because I think
So it's,
No,
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was something like 0.025 or
We
something.
We pay.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
We pay a fee.
They don't.
They don't pay at all.
no, that's.
It's not, I mean, what you might be thinking of is when you buy a ticket to an event, sometimes you put an administration fee, but that's the
No,
platform. that's
the cost is borne by the council. It's really quite small, isn't it?
It's an extremely competitive market. One of the tasks from the finance person on the TV last time, the action plans, is we've got to go and just keep testing the market for that. So that's one of the things that we will be doing. You know, we just have a contract for our machines at the moment.
Can we have a proposal for the floor for that then, I think? Thank you, Chris. Second.
Okay.
In favour? Carry. Anything further on market?
I haven't got anything, I don't know whether.
I have got an issue, I'm
Oh,
afraid.
sorry, there is one thing, and it was good that we took a decision to go and visit the Cornhall. Because what I want to do is remind Terry that one of the things that we talked about a few months ago, and we had a one-to-one with Stacey early on, and you suggested that trying to, look at good practice of other markets, and one of the markets that are flagged to us, quite rightly so, who are thriving at the moment is Swaffham.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to cover Stacey's market duties if you were able to visit Swaffham.
I'll be very keen on that.
So again, I think,
Presumably on a Friday.
yeah. And then I can cover her on a Saturday to cover her, tour or whatever. Yeah, that's fine.
Good, nice one. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
The issue I've had, and more than one trader has come to me with this, is the duplication of goods on the market. Now, we have such a small market that broadly we don't like market traders duplicating other traders' goods, and we had issues, didn't we, last year with eggs and bread and all that sort of stuff. Now resolved because the guy who sold the eggs and bread has gone. I saw a Facebook post on Saturday of a person who has a stall in the market. I'm not going to name names. Who said setting up the market for all your needs of tea, incense sticks, backflow burners, crystals, and a wide selection of candles. All of those things were sold by other market traders. So I'm a bit uncomfortable about it, because what it feels to me is that a stall is a sort of, and I should explain, the stall that said this stuff is not a regular, and is not even a semi-regular. They're people who pop along from time to time. And it feels to me a bit unfair on the existing stall holders, one who comes every week, one who comes 3 out of 4 Saturdays, that they're getting bombed out whenever this person comes along. Now, I think we used to have something in the regs that said you couldn't do that, didn't we?
We didn't have it as a written rule, Terry, but what we need to do.
So, okay,
Yeah, sorry.
okay. So I've had a look at the regs, so there's nothing in there about it.
No.
We've got regs for that.
We have market
Well,
regs.
we have got market rules and regs, but no. Within, we either have to add that.
That's my view, is that I think we need to find a way of doing that. My concern is that what's going to happen is that the casual one comes along now and again, and the 2 people who we want there, who I have to say are quite invested in the market, just jack it in. So we get at best one stall fewer and one person coming along when they fancy it. I think we need to take an attitude towards protecting the other two stalls, and that is about duplication. Chris, you're looking at me funny.
That's the glasses, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought competition was meant to be healthy.
Yeah.
You quote Swaffham and other markets, you go to Bury, I know, which is totally different, you will find duplicates on there.
It's so much larger.
Yeah, I'm sure, I'm aware of that, but I mean, if we want to grow the market considerably, are we putting a block in the way of stalls coming?
Well, I think we're doing the reverse.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I honestly think we're doing the reverse. There we go.
Yes, that's okay, I mean, that's just, I thought.
So again, not mentioning any traders, but can I just so again, Chris has been on the council long enough to know that we've had these discussions before. The reason it's not in the regulations is because a regular trader has that kind of profile. But when you look at our regular traders, and we only have 3 at the moment, they do have pretty much one type of product. So the fishmonger, the fruit and veg, the plants and flowers. The thing with the fruit and veg, which is really interesting, is when that particular trader left, and he didn't, we had no bread, the fruit and veg came and said, on other markets, I sell bread, so I'm quite happy to step in and do that. But the second thing he said to me is, I will add that to the list of products that I have pledged to sell. So if we go down this route of non-duplication, we must make sure that they record every product, because in respect of those casual traders, they will add things all of the time. And in the end, it will have a detrimental effect, because you will look at it and go, you know what, I could have a candle store here, but that one sells a few candles, that one sells the odd one every now and again, and we can't have a candle store. So we have to be very careful. It is a small space. In the past, councillors have said, no, competition is competition. And in the days where, people go, oh, in the old days, we had a market down on the lower, we had 3 fruit and veg, we had 2 closed stalls, we had 2 fishmongers, one of which is still there. The other fruit and veg is still there. But we have to be careful but Terry's right, we are not a Bury. We're not huge where you can, and we've not got the kind of footfall that they're quite happy because they've got the volume. We haven't. But it's a very tricky thing to make a decision on. So I would air caution if we have to be very strict with what their product list is.
I'm sort of trying to judge both sides of the argument. Obviously, you got a new starter, they want to come along and try it out. But if they're doing something else, then they can't.
Well, they're a bit hit and miss. They had the new people had about 4 or 5 weeks before Christmas. We never saw anything of them after Christmas, and they suddenly pop along on Saturday saying they're selling all this stuff that other people sell.
But I think what we need to do is look really carefully at what we do, like you're saying, look carefully at what we do, but then maybe task yourself and the market coordinator and maybe yourself to say, let's not concrete, but obviously if someone comes along and they've got a candle on the stall and someone comes on with a stall predominant candles, you can't say, well, you can't sell them because they sell a candle. Because it might be, I mean, the lady that sells bric-a-brac, who's been there for a long while, she sells everything.
She sells everything.
Exactly.
And she'll sell like reflective coat.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can't have that because he sells clothing.
One thing I do.
I agree, you have to be careful, but it is something we need to look at, because what we can't do is alienate the people that have stuck with us, and we want them to come. We want them to encourage others to come. So it is dodgy, it is hard, but maybe that's something that.
And that's the point I will accept from Terry, that, I mean, both he and I know the traders we're talking about. And what we don't want to do lose two traders for someone that's going to attend one.
Great, but that's,
every 4 or 5 weeks.
maybe the wording could be.
But having said that, to attend once every 4 or 5 weeks, it is legitimate in terms of a casual trader. But if it means that we lose two, we're back to square one. We've got nobody on the market again. So it's a dodgy one.
How about, and I think this might be a bit of a compromise position, you've already alluded to this, the permanent traders sort of say what they say, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Why don't we say that that's for permanent traders and encourage the two stalls to become permanent traders?
Well, funny you should say that, because when I was covering, because again, we know who we're talking about. When I was covering Stacey, those two traders, Terry, did say to me, what are the options to go in regular? And I said, you can go regular. In actual fact, you'll get a better rate. The problem that you've got is with regular traders, they commit to the month in advance. If you're prepared to do that, one thing you will have is a little bit more leeway in saying, that's what I sell. And this is why we had a flour vendor 2 years ago that wanted to come along, and Simon went, no way. And because he'd been there, God knows how many years, 25 years, and he was a regular trader that comes rain or shine, there's no way we were going to compromise his attendance. So we had to say, sorry, we've already got one. That's why one of the first things Stacey and I will do when we get an inquiry is, what do you sell? I sell fruit and veg. When the fruit and veg came on a Tuesday for a few weeks and then it all went pear-shaped, I had to ask Scott whether he was happy with it. And he said, fine, I don't come Tuesday, that's fine. But I had to ask him because he was a regular trader and they have a completely different status. So that is a way forward if we can encourage them to be regulars.
And I think the benefit of that is we're encouraging people to become regular traders, aren't we?
Yeah. And by and large, the two traders who we're talking about do commit. So I can't really see why they wouldn't.
Yeah. So is there go on,
Just, I agree. There's pros and cons with limiting how many trades of each type we can have in the market. So I can see I agree, it's a tricky decision.
It's not straightforward.
It's a sensitive decision because you can have pros and cons on both ends. I'm just wondering if we go down the line of, be exclusive, that we have one trade of each category or whatever it is, it's going to be really hard. I think Vic mentioned this, to define the type of product. Because some people sell different types of sort of products, and all of a sudden they can just have a batch of stock that come in and sell something different within 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 months down the line, and they can quickly change their stock type or the type of item. Define that, that's going to be quite onerous. I don't know, maybe on staff or market coordinator, whoever is going to sort of build those lists of what can be included and what can't. And there's going to be a margin of discretion there, but there's going to be also margin of discretion for the traders to argue that, oh, well, I did say bric-a-brac, or I did say, and fruit includes tomatoes are not a fruit, the whole thing. It's going to be space for discussing that.
One of the things I will say is, on the website, there's a list of traders who semi-regularly or regularly come on the market. And one of the traders concerned, and I'm sort of giving them away here really, aren't I? Has actually got written on their thing, crystals, which is exactly what this person was coming along to sell. So that feels harsh. In terms of what you were saying, Vic, about the woman who sells all the stuff, she's not a permanent trader.
She's not a permanent trader, but I think on every market you will get that kind of trader. And I think there is a tolerance from other traders because it's so big, it's something that will attract footfall. But what we need to be vigilant, and actually the fact that we've recruited a dedicated market coordinator, her task is to make sure that she's vigilant in keeping that product list and actually scrutinising the traders as they set. Oh, hang on a minute, what's this? Now you're going to have to add that to the product list, or so I think there's a little bit of work to be done on it. But
how do we feel about putting it into the regs that permanent traders, because they do give a commitment to us, have the right to a list of products that they,
Want to make exclusive to their, because they're
yeah,
regular?
I mean, you're not going down to the level of, say, I mean, we've got to be fairly reasonable. You can't say earrings or something like that because,
Yes, of course.
but a sort of,
By type of products, I would say.
how do we feel about that?
I fingers crossed, there's no arguments in the
I think
grey
the
area.
blind court
I think
is
they're on
then,
side.
then
Well,
we
only
want you to come and trade. But if you sell one of the things that these don't, then you're off. You can't.
No, I don't think it, I don't think it
can't be
would.
that stringent. There's got to be a little bit of flexibility in it. But
The problem,
I think the idea of, well, look, hang on, if we've got a fruit man coming and he wants to come on a Tuesday and we said to the other one, anything like that, well, what's his objective?
yeah,
And we do need, the one thing we do need is to get more on there, because the more we get on there, the better the football.
my reservation is, as I said, you get people in here knocking others off, you get fewer people.
Yeah, and
This is
worth going up there. If you've got 7 sort of vegetables,
If it becomes a cutthroat thing,
yeah,
then we lose.
it's not worth getting 7 traders on there and all fruit and veg. Because people aren't going to go there for seven lots of fruit and veg.
I've had that conversation.
And it's having a balance. It's
I think we
judging
can,
it.
I think we can have this as a guideline, but yeah, have a degree of flexibility into it. And if in that case, should any argument or, query arise from that between traders new and old, I think
Essentially,
the owners will be on the market coordinator to try to mediate and negotiate their way. Retain them both, possibly, or at least the oldest ones, the regular ones, but that's something they're gonna have to sort of.
But equally, what we can't have is our regular traders dictating what we can and what we can't have on the market. They're traders, they're not running the market.
Yeah.
interestingly, at Swaffham, the traders do run a market on Saturdays. Not sure that's a model I'd go for, but their council committee at Swaffham consists entirely of traders.
Where's overview?
Might be worth for you guys to, maybe ask if you could attend as a guest to one of their meetings and see how, how they deal with on a daily basis, how they navigate those arguments and those challenges.
There's one more thing that comes off of the market report that I want to ask about is the, obviously the food vendor. We haven't got a food vendor yet, and obviously not there.
Before we get to
Can't we get a tea, coffee store?
before we get to that one bit, can we sort this one
No
out?
refreshments. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all right, it's all right.
No, I'm joking now.
Could I propose that we put something in the rules around, and I think this is a thing we need to have a chat about, put something in the rules that permanent traders get an option.
Yeah, permanent, so regular trades have exclusive product protection, so non-done.
Yeah.
I think that, to be fair, the commitment they give, I think that is fair.
Yeah.
I think we have to be very careful in terms of casual traders.
Yeah.
But again, we need to be vigilant on the product list, and that's where your negotiation can start from. If they've got it in black and white, you can go, well, hang on a minute, last week you didn't have that, that's why she's unhappy, or he's unhappy. So I think that helps, Stacey, but I don't think it would be detrimental, Vic, if we had that written into a regular traders.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Could you repeat that? Because I didn't quite catch the.
So a regular trader who gives that commitment to come rain or shine, I think they should have an exclusive product protection, so non-duplication. So we couldn't have another fruit and veg on there. We couldn't have another fishmonger.
Okay.
But
that doesn't apply to Tuesdays, just in case, because.
No, unless they went.
It doesn't apply across days, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, okay. I have no objection to that one.
Thank you.
And that put forward as a proposal?
Yeah.
Put forward as a proposal?
Thank you.
Carry.
Thank you very much. I think that's a reasonable sort of compromise.
Yeah. It's a compromise. So I think, fingers crossed will work.
Vic, hot food offering.
Yeah, I mean,
If only.
can we not say, at the very least, can we not get someone around doing tea and coffee or something?
So good news.
Yes, yes, it is.
Finally.
So the lady who attends Tuesday market with that lovely, in fact, it's the pictures on your
Daisies.
through Daisy. She is desperate to come on Saturday. And I spoke to her yesterday and said, if you're desperate, I'm desperate to have you. So let's get you on. There is an issue that was, I think, was broached with her and she said, yeah, but what happens if you ever open the tea room? Are you going to kick me off? Because I want to make this, I want to make a commitment to it. I want to build my client base and all the rest of it. And I've said, to be honest, it may be that we might have to look for a different space on the space because it's a different configuration to Saturday. You've got plants, you've got fruit and veg, you've got Mandy with a big stall there. She's in that corner on a Tuesday. So ideally, you would think she would be up this end on a Saturday where there's the gap. But if we did do that kind of thing, and I've said, if we ever open that facility again, there's a different way that we're going to do it. So I don't see that as a compromise. There was a conversation we had after that. I don't want to get into too much, and I don't want to say I'll talk to Terry and whoever council wants to know afterwards. But there was a really very good conversation to have. So I've encouraged her to come on Saturday as well. And she sells good coffee as well. It's not just like a hot water urn and a bit.
I second that.
It's good stuff.
It's proper coffee.
Whether we can encourage her to get into some sort of like, you know, whatever, sandwiches and things like that as well, or whatever. But I mean, she's got a lovely, lovely stall. So, so that's good news. She will be starting.
It is good news. The only slight issue I have with that is she does sell cakes that are awfully like puddings.
And that's why.
And she's aware of that as well.
Jess is very supportive.
Although she is very reasonable, Jess, and we are working with Jess and you know, we're getting her involved in food, the Foodie Friday type things as well. So we're building a relationship with Jess that's getting better and better. But good news. So at least it's teas and coffees, at least it's refreshments, but we still want that hot food option as well. But that might attract them. It's a start. It's a start.
It's better than nothing for sure.
And it's a nice van. It's a nice
And she's very, I'm sort of over-egging this a bit, but she's very keen. She's very amenable. The sort of person we want on there. Can I say that?
If you want.
Yeah.
You already have, haven't you?
Yeah. I think we're done with that, aren't we, markets now? 782 financial report. Thank you.
So, yeah, so I think I'll cover some of the points in the earlier venues report. And as you can see in the report, you know, bar income, actually this line.
30% is the 782.
I'll help and safety.
782 financial report. Did I say 783? Apologies.
So next to your next item.
Yes, thank you.
So, all right, okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Oh, right, okay, I've got. It's obviously transposed on these ones. This is the one I got at home.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. 782
Health and
health and
safety.
safety.
Yeah. So, yeah, just to give you, I mean, Guildhall Towers repairs, council have made the decision and approved the repairs, and Nick is underway with negotiating the start date, etc. So hopefully we can see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel in that respect. The other one that has also been approved is Guildhall Heating. They are starting the works on Friday in terms of the heating contractor. So they'll be starting flushing out the system, the old system, and the install of pipework and boiler. I've had several meetings with the suppliers. Cadent, SSE have appointed Cadent, the local contractor, to provide that service up to the point of the meter. Again, I think, my God, we're getting into another tower situation, because as we did with the electrics on the market, you have a survey team come out, you have someone else comes out, and then the big team comes out. But actually, having said all of that, when they have come out and they've investigated, they've invested a lot of time to try and get the next team to be on the case. And we're far enough down the road that they've actually scheduled to dovetail with the heating contractor that supply. So touch wood, I think everything at this moment in time is looking good to go. Pretty much in a few weeks' time. The contractor says it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks to get him up to speed, but I think by then. So yes, I know we're going into the hot weather. We probably don't need heating at that point, but we're not going to get caught cold when it changes again later in the year. So we've made some good progress on that. Chris?
Can we double check that when Cadent or Cadent, whichever way not pronounce it, has finished the work, that we make sure they really tidy up behind it? We've had major issues on other pieces of work they've done in the town where they've left holes in the ground, holes in the pavement, bits and pieces. The work they didn't done it your way, they've left a hole. And there's some Brown Hill Road, they've left all the sand and that all over the road.
Yeah,
we need to make sure when they're finished that they've tidied up properly.
Well, if it does, it's on my head because I am the contact, and when they come, they report to me. The fact is that I am literally on the doorstep of the site. The problem is, again, Chris, is as we found out with the electric supply on the market, there will be I don't know what you call them, a make good team. The dig team will just, you can see they've done the exploratory holes and they've just mounded it up over the top because they've got to come back, to be fair, to finish the job. But that's how that team will leave it, and then the next one will come in and make good. Because it's crazy. No wonder these things cost so much money. But yeah, so I'll make sure I'm on it in terms of that. It's going to go across the supply is actually going to go across the forecourt of Dad's Army, so we can't leave it in that kind of state anyway, because that's access to the Dad's Army Museum.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Just a little thing from myself, David.
Yeah.
And this is just checking off an action point, really. Steps. I don't know what the answer is.
So the back Carnegie steps.
Yeah.
So they are complete. I did see that. So prompted by yourself, to be fair, Hazel did the post to say that we've done it. It's open. I think they look really good, even though one social media contributor said you could have repainted the yellow. Well, we will when the weather, allows us to do that. It's great, but we will because she's right in one respect, but blimey, one of the other things to talk about good weather jobs is we have talked about, you brought it up in our pre-meeting, the cracks in the building need to be raked and repointed
In the Guildhall.
in the Guildhall on the external face. Again, we have to wait until the weather is conducive to that kind of, but it will happen as soon as it changes, and we can guarantee that once we do point it and monitor it, it's going to go off before it freezes. So so those kind of projects are ongoing.
Thank you. Dare I say, 7 8 financial report.
So I've touched on several areas, but one of the ones I will highlight is some positives and some negatives, unfortunately. But so bar income, the last quarter is actually trying to drag back some of the shortfalls that we've had through the year for lack of bar events. I don't think there's going to be a variance, but again, there's a big event this weekend which will add a gross income, hopefully, of well over the £2,000. We have a monthly target, a gross target of £3,300 to hit our budget target. And the last couple of months we've been 4,000 plus. So if we'd have done that through the year, we would have been, a good 10 grand up rather than the negative variance. So the potential is there. And as I mentioned earlier, some of the analysis and forward planning we're doing, hopefully we will have more positives than negative stories to generate income in the future, because we're doing the analysis a lot more keener. Carnegie room hire, again, that's something that we're getting more and more inquiries. We did talk about blood donors taking additional sessions. We're going to get into the summer period where we've got several weddings and wedding receptions booked, which are always good hires and good earners. And again, there's lots of tribute band. There's so many tribute bands inquiries that we're having. Again, we've got to do the analysis of do we want to have a whole program of those? We need to be sensible about it, because we have a very program of activities and events. We're actually pushing them off until 2025, and they're quite happy to do that because they can just put it in their 2025 schedule, touring program, which is really encouraging that we've not put them off, but they'll come back next year. So again, what we're doing is if we've got a Queen tribute, we're not going to take another one within that year, because again, it dilutes the success of both events if they know that there's too many, a bit like the duplication of market traders, same principle really. But where the negative does come is the obvious one, the one that really flags on our budget, and that's the Carnegie repairs and maintenance. It's hugely over budget. However, as I said in my report, if you look at the entry above that is running at 2,400 and something, and the budgeted figure is 2,500, because we always assumed in this area that we would be looking at minor type repairs. So if we had to repair a toilet seat or some basic painting and things, what we've been hit with, as you all know, sitting on other committees that have discussed this, is the increase in fire risk assessment repairs and jobs and things like that. And it has to be set somewhere, but it's been set against the budget, which wasn't unfortunately forecast. So there's nothing we can do about it, I'm afraid, apart from trying to generate as much money as we could have done to try and pay that in some ways. But yeah, it's too late in the day to claw all of it back, and it is a huge amount, but that's the mitigation about that one. So I don't know whether you've got any questions on the financial report outside.
I'm looking at you all and I'm saying no. No. Thank you very much. On to item 784, application to hire the venue free of charge.
So this is something that, so the Thetford Job Centre telephoned me pretty much a week or so ago, so they were very lucky to get onto this agenda. But what they want to do is deliver a jobs fair for Thetford on Wednesday, the 8th of May. They'll be in from, I think, 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and it is a Wednesday, so it's our weekday rate. And for them, they would have a concession rate if they paid for it. So it would be £20 for a concession rate midweek. So that's 6 hours, so that's £120 value of hire. So there's me getting excited that he's going to have a 6 hour booking, and then he tells me that they haven't got a budget for this, but they really want to do this to benefit the job seekers within the town, and the Carnegie is the big essential venue. We've facilitated jobs fairs before. It's disappointing that they haven't got a budget for these kind of events, if that's what they do, but I said I would bring it to committee. I have to do that as part of our terms of conditions of committee. You have to make the decision on that. The value is £120 that would be given away. Caveated against, it is to try and find people jobs. So is it something that we want to do?
Okay. My understanding of a jobs fair is companies like have got vacancies, want employers. They go to the job centre and they say, well, let's put on a job fair, and they pick up people to cover their vacancies.
Yeah.
So we're basically saying, I mean, I've got no problem with saying it's a worthy thing, and yeah, maybe we shouldn't be charging the job centre, but the main beneficiary of giving them the venue free of charge isn't the job centre. Yes, it is residents that might pick up a job, but it's the companies, like your two sisters, like some of the other big employers in the town, that will go there and encourage people to go and work for them. Care providers, they'll be picking up the staff. So surely they should be paying to attend the Department of Work and Transport Pensions job fair.
Well, possibly, but I can't dictate that format to the job centre bit.
No,
But we have done it before, and you're right, Two Sisters will be there. People like Centre Parks have been there before, Baxter's, all the big hitters, as well as some of the smaller events. The reason they have that is because it gives those employers the opportunity to sit down and have a pre-interview, if you like. So, you know, they can actually cherry pick those kind of people that they want to invite into a formal interview. It has worked in the past. There's, you know, the feedback that we've had is it's been very successful, that format, but it just means that we have to forego
120 quid.
120 quid and a 6-hour hire that we could get from someone else who will pay. Having said that, we are a town council.
Two questions in one. Likelihood of getting someone for that Wednesday?
At this late stage, because it is the 8th of May.
Probably won't happen, will it?
No.
So it'd be empty if we don't allow it.
During the day it will. It doesn't impact on our regular hire in the evening and Wednesday.
Secondly, if we was to agree as a council to say, okay, we'll give you that for free, can we not say that is our event? We're welcoming the Department of Work and Pensions in for a job fair from the council and sort of play it as our event, not the.
So you want sort of a dual promotion?
If we're paying for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
we promoters.
I will certainly convey that back and say that, yeah, we want recognition that we're supporting it. What we could also do is, you know, we could have a table there. We could say that we want to, you know, promote. I know there's jobs that we're looking to advertise at the moment, certainly in the town team and things. So maybe we have an opportunity to, you know, to talk and connect.
My point is, my point is, if we're going to do these things, yeah, and we'll let other people take all the kudos.
Yeah.
They go, well, what the council done? Well, actually, we paid for it.
Yeah.
Carla.
I have a problem with both options. Yeah, well, in first place, I know we have the business rates and then we have the special rates for charities and groups, which is reduced rate. I'm assuming this is where the job centre would fit in with the special rate then that you mentioned. It's also a bit baffling to me that the government themselves, or the DWP, can't afford £120 to promote work in a town where that is one of the most needed things, and always promote employment, especially with the youngsters. There are a big rate of unemployed in the town. So I'm all in favor of promoting the jobs, and it's one of the things I keep beating the drum about: employment for the town, improving economics, getting young people into jobs. All for it. The fact they can't afford £120 doesn't sit very well with me, particularly when we're charging charities and small groups that sometimes don't have that in a full month if they want to use the space.
Yeah.
So why are they more important? Just because they're bigger? Why should we give them away with free to the government? We can certainly afford it.
Yeah.
And not give it to the other groups. We're creating a precedent there where we're favoring the institutions over the small guy.
Well,
and then
I'll give you an example to support your view. Yesterday, and Terry was there, so he knows. Enable, a well-being, had 30 odd organisations that are promoting all the good things that they do. They paid £140 to hire our venue, and they do massively good stuff for the town, hugely well attended. So they were chuffed a bit. It worked.
We can't put it on a scale the value of people's employment versus their mental health, because they're interlinked and both have value when it comes to that. And I mean, I'm sure that group, wherever, or I'm not familiar with it, but I'm pretty sure they weren't the DWP, they weren't the government paying for it. There's also a point I think the companies that are there, yes, they're going to get the workers. I'm sure the local agencies have something to say about that, because if they can't afford £120 to recruit the best workers possible, but they are keen to spend thousands of pounds going to agencies when they're desperate, I'm pretty sure they can afford £120.
The last time we did a jobs fair,
If they want to do the job fair, we did the DWP.
the last time we did a jobs fair, there was representation from 20 organisations. So
You figure, but Dave, if you figured if every company put in a fiver,
yeah,
they would have covered the fee to the council.
Chris.
I haven't made. How many members of staff it's going to cost us during the day? Just
Good to know.
2, 3.
okay. Are we going to sell tea and coffee?
We can do. So we
To try and bring some money back. But far more importantly, right, if a group like Enable is prepared to pay, and with hard-earned residents' money who are the least able to afford this, because they're mainly elderly, disabled,
Exactly.
which are looking at these people,
120.
why on earth are we giving a government body free?
£120.
So going around the table, I'm sensing.
And one more point, even if we do sell those coffees and teas, do bear in mind that the footfall is from people that is unemployed.
Yeah, exactly correct. We're looking at saying no, aren't we?
I would like to propose we say.
I can't agree with that.
I'll be honest with you.
I think that's
If everyone had
favourable.
said, oh, we'll do it, I'd say, well, then the caveat's got to be that we're the number one promoter.
I don't even know why they get a special rate. They're not a charity.
I know.
That for
I
starters
agree
to
with
me is
you.
offensive.
Even if it isn't the government.
I know.
The people that are attending, they're
The
multi-million organisations.
companies can't afford £6 each. That's a pretty poor show.
So
You'll have recruitment agencies in there, and they're probably the richest of the lot.
So who's going to propose and second
I
that
propose we.
There's no, absolutely not.
proposal?
Chris second.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Happy to welcome them, but they've paid a fee.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
That's interesting.
So a nice healthy discussion that was.
I'm mindful of time, Craig. 785 action points for people.
So I can whistle through these. So, one of the action points was that officers organise a journalist, guest reporter and contact schools. This is something that we did discuss that Amber wanted to do as an extension of the writers group that was delivered from the Guildhall for, and it was really successful. That programme's still ongoing for adults. We wanted a junior version. However, it has transpired since those discussions that the schools programme has just been over. But for the schools themselves. Monday, was it? Tuesday. Drake and Redcastle, and the guys have been, they had 2 school visits today, they've got another one tomorrow. So I think we're just overwhelming the teachers. It's something that we really want to do, but you're just going to have to just go with it for a bit. But it's not something, we're all keen on doing it, and I think there's a lot of kudos that we can get from that. But it's going to be ongoing, so I think you need to carry that one forward.
Yeah.
The next one was that the committee officers speak to staff and ask them to provide personal photos for the website. Again, I don't know whether this was discussed in personnel at all, Alan.
No, but at 4:06 this afternoon, I received an email from our HR consultants basically saying that we cannot force staff to do that. Staff have the right to control their own image and privacy, and we have to expect that outcome.
But what I can say is on the website, as you can see, if someone wants to make contact and complain about anything or question anything, what is on the website is Alan, Nick and myself in terms of the management level. We have photographs, we have name, job title and job description. Every other staff member is on there with exactly the same information. So job title, a brief job description of what they, so people could get, oh, I've got a complaint about the cemetery or whatever. I need to go to this person because look, it says that that's what they do. And here's the contact details. The only thing that's missing is the photo. However, slightly ironically, we are putting together the lanyards, and not one staff member has refused to have their photo on here. So,
Can I just say we were told we had to have photos on them?
well, you put it on. You put it on.
Yeah,
and
but we
you're
were
happy
told we
to
had
put
to
it
have them
on.
on, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
you're happy to put it on. So people have subscribed to that. I mean, you know, no one has come to me and say, over my dead body, you're not having it on there. But the thing is, so I don't think they're trying to hide from their identity, but the website goes further afield. You know, this is if someone's working at their job, they're quite happy to display the photo and this, and I think that's a good compromise in my opinion, but that's where we're at. So they will be implemented very soon.
I don't think we can force staff to have their pictures on the website. We should not even consider doing it. The senior management team definitely, because they're there to have responsibility. That's why they get paid the extra money. The lanyards are not publicity, it's for identification.
Yeah.
And safety. So we know who's who coming into the building, etc., right? But they should not be forced to have their pictures on the website if they don't want it.
The issue with landlords, I think, is pertinent regarding the stuff we've had the consultation with the Abbey estate. Lots of people be going in, residents be going in, talking to flagship officials. They haven't got landlords, they don't know who they're talking to. So I think it's reasonable to have a name.
I don't disagree with that, but on the website, no.
So they're just being finished off. Alona's taken that project on. So from the other side of Easter, so on the 2nd of April, people will be wearing these. What we're also doing is, so a visitor, a contractor, etc., would sign into the Carnegie, and they would have to wear one of these as well, because there's times when we obviously have hirers in, and contractors might be working in a different area that doesn't affect that, but they walk through the communal area, so they need to identify themselves, especially when blood donors and things like that are on. And then we will have one with councillors. The only thing is, we are going to get this bit, the strap with councillor on it as well. So you differentiate staff and councillor. We obviously can't do that with this.
Be nice.
Yeah, so it will be like that, but it will be a lanyard here with councillor on it. So yeah.
Can you make it so they're snap free?
And it has to be, Chris, because there's a safety thing, especially when it's not, yeah.
Just a small question.
Yeah.
Go on, Vicky,
No,
for-
you first. No.
Very quick question. I mean, can we just provide you guys with a picture? Before you do those cards, we can put a new picture in it, because the picture I had for 5 years ago was probably the most tedious picture that was taken of me of all time. I cannot. And it's one that is on the website. I mean, just, if I provide you guys with just a formal, work.
Next time you pop
happy.
in, just pop in and someone.
Anything else but whatever's there.
I've sent them my favourite one in.
I appreciate it.
It's not in the main page. So.
Oh, gosh.
Forgot that already.
Two
It
quick
was
points.
tedious.
I agree with like with the lanyards and all that, but can we, it might not be for this committee, but can we expand it slightly?
So I'm
Being a bit
going to
greedy.
come on to this.
Right,
Carry on.
the lapel badges, the magnetic ones, Thetford Town Council, can we get them?
We have got those, so if you want those, because I must admit, when you go into receptions and things like that, these are a bit cumbersome.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you do attend the odd.
So we've already got those, so it's not going to cost extra. So what we'll do is we'll supply one of these if you were coming to say the Enable Wellbeing Fair or something like that. But if you're attending Chris's civic reception in a few months' time.
The second one is, going to sound a bit naff, but business cards.
I was coming to that.
When we're out and about, right, now I'll give you an example. I was in Elders the other day, I was talking to a woman on the till, and she said to me, what? I said, well, I'm local council. Oh, are you? She started, I said, I couldn't have a conversation with her because there was a queue. It'd be really nice if we've got just a couple in our pocket and go, look, contact me or any other councillor, that's the contact details. Because that way we're more accountable to them. we can get stuff, we can come and ask you questions, because people will come directly to us rather than phoning up you and going, what about this, what about that?
So I'm going to add another one now as well. Thanks for it. I was going to suggest that anyway, so thank you. I pay for my own, and
I'm willing to pay for mine. I'm happy to pay for mine.
Another one would be the magnetic badges for councillors. In case they're in situations where a lanyard might not be as safe as it would be. And if we can lump all that lot into one action plan.
So I'm willing to
We have to
contribute.
put some agenda to get it approved. So I think it is sitting in some agendas. I know it's sitting at the finance person, I've been sitting in the meetings. The business cards, we just need to put it on an agenda somewhere. So we'll get that.
The magnetic, gubbins type thing, we've already.
They're on an agenda, they've been approved, but business cards is the only thing that hasn't been approved, so we'll just get that.
Is it easier for you in terms of admin to split these out or have it all in one item?
I think we've had the discussion, because I think it's unfortunate, it's one of these things, it's fallen between different committees, so we just need to get back to the committee, and we'll do that shortly. It should actually go to personnel properly.
Thank you, Chris. Sorry, Carla, I beg your pardon.
Oh, wait. Go on.
Go on, Connie, go first.
I was just gonna ask, is it more cost efficient even for the council if you put it all in one package? When you order like from a supplier that does all these sort of things, it might be more efficient and get a better deal because you're buying a package of items, maybe? I don't know, is something worth looking into?
Can I have one that says mayor in case anyone don't know how I am in a row? Sorry,
Please return to.
So we're drilling down into the big issues.
And then the last one on this one is there was two aspects of the weekly markets. One was the committee obviously purchased 5 replacement gazebos at no more than £550. Actually, we have done, they came in at 387. So that was a saving. So that's
And they were
good.
red and white.
Yeah. Do you know what? It didn't dawn on me. I just thought, do you know what? It's a nice colour for summer. And it's caused furore on social media. But do you know what? Sometimes that's a good thing because it gets it out there. So, so I'm happy with that.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Can I just a response to that? If we was going one side, it would have been all red or all white.
The only thing is when we do the summer stuff, that I don't know. That's what my thinking was. The other reason is because our old gazebos used to be green and red, solid green and red. So again, me being mindful of budgets and things, we replaced the canopy, but we also had red sides. So it didn't look out of place. If we'd have got a completely different colour, it would have been stupid. So it was my decision. I'm sorry to upset some members of the public, but there you go.
Well controlled.
You don't sound terribly controlled.
No. So the market coordinator set up a Twitter account, which Hazel has already alluded to. She's done. The training started, so we'll get that underway.
Very quickly, I've got 2 little things. One's we've sort of covered really, we know where it's going. It's regarding teams and decisions. That's now binned, isn't it?
It's been put on hold.
Yeah. Okay. that is different.
There's been no, sorry, excuse me. There's been no formal decision on it. I just had a chat to the finance personnel who were driving decisions, and we actually said we're putting it on hold, and the reasons why we're putting it on hold.
Okay, so there's no need for that to go as an action plan.
No.
Fair cut.
Just to, with the British Legion Club, I know it's part of the venues, but we don't hear nothing of it. I know that they've renewed their licence, but the last I heard it was shutting down. Can we sort of get, because we obviously hire stuff out, right? We've got venues that we hire out, and we've got the shambles stuff as well. We never get reports on where they're going. We just, they're so empty, and we don't know what's going on with them. And as it's a venues, I thought that might be under this.
So that's not under this committee.
Sorry, Alan.
It falls under finance. A few years ago, the terms of reference of the finance committee was to look after the commercial leases, not treat it as a venue. It used to actually be,
Okay.
before that it was part of amenities. So it's actually moved into finance for the reason that,
Excuse my ignorance.
it's fine, it's in the terms of reference of finance.
Right, that's right.
I've got two final small ones, and I think we know where they are. One's the Guildhall windows and walls, which we've spoken about,
Yeah, so again, they're being assessed at the moment, so
Yeah.
hopefully we can get some quotes and.
and the other one's the mats for kids.
And so as soon as we have our first outdoor activity, which will be one of the Friday evenings, we have the music from the middle of the shambles. In that cage area, we open it up and have it from there, which gives us the opportunity to unveil our 5 metre by 5 metre snakes and ladders for the kids to
Brilliant.
go and play on. So that's our first one. We might have another one that we can have. When we don't have it on top of that, it pulls over the staging area. If we were to open the sand pit, for instance, we can then take it out and just lay it on the ground. And so it's going to be useful. We're going to use it throughout the summer. It's going to get good use. But we have made
Fantastic.
that one up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chair, we exceeded our 2-hour limit.
Yeah, we have, haven't we?
We're 2 seconds away.
So would you like to suspend standing order 3X, I think it is?
Yes, I think you're right. And move on quickly.
Vote.
All in favour of suspending standing order.
Yes, go, let's get on with it.
Thank you. Thank you, that's agreed. 786, communicate engagement. Have we got anything there?
I'm trying to think what we've discussed tonight, to be honest. No, I don't.
No, I don't think we have either. Thank you. And 787, committee officers update. No, beautiful. That's it then. I declare the meeting closed. So for all of 2 minutes,
Yes.
thank you. And thanks everyone. I think we got through a lot of stuff there.
Close the meeting.
Yeah,